For only having been alive on this earth for 27 years, I have had a lot of hobbies. And I mean a lot of hobbies. Maybe it's a function of my ADHD, but I do seem to flip between interests very quickly. As a result, I have left a lot of skills and projects begun, but, well, let's just say unpolished. One of these skills is skateboarding. When I was at university, I had a friend who I would go to the skate park with once a week or so, and we'd have a crack at learning the sport. Although I was confident enough riding a board around on the streets, I had a hard time getting the hang of any actual tricks. One thing I did start to get the hang of though was dropping in. Although I was never brave enough to try any really big ramps, I could usually drop in on a lot of the surfaces around the skate park. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what dropping in is, it's when a skater starts at the top of a ramp and leans forward to roll down into it. Anyone who has ever tried it knows that it's actually a lot harder than it sounds. The most difficult part is persuading your body to lean over into that critical point where the center of your weight is no longer supported over your legs. This is the point where you would normally just fall over if you were standing on flat ground. But if you have a skateboard and a ramp beneath you, you roll down the ramp instead. The thing about dropping in is that many, perhaps even most accidents, occur when the person dropping in fails to commit to the exercise. You see, if you don't lean far enough forward, too much of your weight will stay centered over just the back wheels of your board. This almost inevitably leads to sliding backwards as you roll down the ramp and landing squarely on your rear end. This hurts a lot, by the way. The funny thing about dropping in is that really the best way to avoid falling backwards is to fully commit to falling forward. In a way, the only way to avoid a fall is to commit to a different kind of fall. When you choose your fall, you get to stay in the driver's seat. See, I think life works kind of the same way a lot of the time. There is just so much in life that is out of our control or that feels scary, kind of like falling. Even when you choose to fall forward when dropping in, there is a point where gravity takes over and there's really nothing you can do until you hit the angle where your weight is back over the skateboard again. But if you don't choose this fall, this loss of control, you fall anyway, and lose the very control you were trying to hold on to. In life, it isn't possible to be in control all the time. Therefore, rather than being able to choose what happens to us all the time, which nobody can do, the best we can do is to consciously choose our consequences. Every action has consequences, and usually every action will have at least some kind of positive and negative consequence. For example, my choice to drop out of college to try starting a business had both negative and positive consequences. I got to get out of the school experience which I was not enjoying. I got to have the opportunity to try something new and learn a lot of amazing things that have benefited my current life. And I got to exercise my own free will muscle and listen to my own intuition, which is extremely important to me. All of these consequences feel like they were pretty much net positives. However, that choice also led to some negative consequences. For example, I had to put up with a lot of discomfort when my friends and family asked me what I was doing with my life. A lot of them disapproved of my choice, and that's something I had to deal with. It's not very fun when some people you're close to aren't on board with your life decisions. Additionally, I didn't get to finish college at that time. I still haven't to this day, and it's possible that I never will. Even though I wanted to drop out, I still chose the negative consequence of not having a degree. When I later chose to stop working on my business, I was left with no business and no degree, and there were a lot of jobs that I didn't qualify for because of this. Now, this all worked out, of course, and I was still able to find good enough work to support my family, but I'm not gonna lie and say that there weren't moments where I wondered if I really did the right thing by dropping out. When you do things your own way, you choose to give up a certain sense of comfort that other people will have just by doing things the normal way. You're choosing the path that will always be more uncertain and less comfortable. Now, over time, I've been learning to deal with the anxiety that comes from this, but the anxiety is definitely still there. My point in sharing this story is just to say that pretty much every action has positive and negative consequences. Am I glad I dropped out of school to follow a different path? Yeah, absolutely. Would I change it if I could go back? No, I don't think I would. But it was really hard. Would I recommend it to somebody else if they asked me? Well, that depends. I honestly don't think I would make a recommendation either way. I don't think that everybody should do what I did, and I don't think that everybody should do the normal school path either. I think what everybody should do is honestly consider the consequences of whatever choice they make, listening to their heart and intuition, and then consciously choose their consequence and accept them as the price of what they chose. Failing to consciously make a choice, or failing to accept the consequences of your choice, is like failing to commit when dropping in on a skateboard. It may seem like you are avoiding a fall at first, but you're actually just setting yourself up for a fall that you don't have as much control over. When we fail to recognize our choices and claim our own power to choose, we're giving our power away to anything and anyone. We're taking ourselves out of the driver's seat. We set ourselves up for future resentment and regret. We will resent the people and things that we think took our power away, but the truth is we gave it to them. By not accepting the consequences of our actions, we fail to claim the power that we have in our own lives. We fail to see that many of our consequences were in fact our own doing. We give that power to somebody else. There are a lot of things in our lives that are just out of our control, but there's also a lot that is in our control as well. In a rhythmically chaotic universe where so much is out of your control, I recommend choosing to lean into the choices you do have, and choose the power of choosing your consequences. Thanks for watching. Peace and blessings.